And the United Nations reports that every year 220 million children contract diarrheal diseases, and 96,000 of those die as a result of, amongst other reasons, poor handling practices. Well, this is where the basic principles of food hygiene at home and elsewhere become important as an important part of food safety and ensuring that the health and well-being of the general public. Care, of course, needs to be taken in handling, preparing and storing food in a way that prevents foodborne illnesses. Let's chat a bit about this now. Penny Campbell is the Director of Food Control at the Department of Health. Ms. Campbell, thank you very much indeed for joining us. This is such an important conversation to have. But I want to start with what the basic principles would be of maintaining, proper food hygiene.
Thank you very much, Criselda. In terms of good food hygiene and safety, whether it's in the household or whether it's for somebody that's preparing, like this wonderful trader that has opened this business out in Kimberley, you have to ensure that you comply to health and safety standards in terms of ensuring that you have a safe product. What we have put in place for that for South Africa, we call general provisions for hygiene on food premises and transport of food, as well as related matters. And those regulations basically regulate the premises, the person, as well as anything that comes into contact with the food and the surfaces, etc. So the basic tenets that you speak of are also captured in there and would also be applicable to us as preparers at home as well, is to ensure that you always keep clean, separate raw and cooked foods, cook foods thoroughly, as well as ensure that foods are stored at safe temperatures.
Yes.
And then the final key is making sure that you have safe ingredients as well as safe water supply.
Safe water supply. We're having this conversation where in certain parts, including here in Johannesburg, we've been without water for a couple of days. And how do we manage or adhere to food hygiene and safety standards in difficult times where, of course, you would have maybe Rand water that needs to do the required maintenance that it needs to, but of course that means no water for a couple of hours. That's going to be very difficult to comply with.
Yes, but usually you are notified by a municipality as to when your water will be interrupted, and through that you then need to make the necessary provisions to have that water available. Because in terms of if you are doing anything that is sold to the consumer or even donated to the consumer, you still have to ensure that you have a safe product. So if you are not able to provide it with safe water, then you would not be able to actually still continue to provide that food service to the consumers. If it's in your household, you would also put aside some water or put that in place. And then also, some of us have hand sanitizers on hand that we've kept and kept those applications of sanitizers as we learned during the COVID period.
All right. So in terms of compliance, what are we seeing currently? Is there, wide-scale compliance, by restaurants, for example, when it comes to ensuring, that hygiene is top of mind? What are we seeing currently within the sphere?
Okay, so we don't have up-to-date scientific information on this, but generally in terms of enforcement of our regulations and regular inspections of these premises, it is taken right down to the level that is closest to the consumer as well as closest to these food premises. So the municipal authorities, namely the metropolitan and district municipalities, are tasked with enforcing and inspecting the premises to ensure that at all times they are complying to these regulations. And the insert that you showed with that wonderful caterer that is having her food stall out there, even that that premises is what they would check. And you can see that they are aware of the hygiene practices in that they are wearing hair nets, which is to prevent any hair as well as any contamination from the person. Because remember, I said the person is also important in terms of being regulated. And then they also had gloves on, and the premises is very clean, and it's in a clean area without any refuse around it to bring about or enhance the fostering of pests and rodents and things like that.
I think this is very important, Ms. Campbell, in light of the fact of, the cholera outbreak as well. This is where, conversations like these need to be reinforced and made sure that people actually comply with this.
Absolutely, yes. The cholera outbreak, I don't think that there's still an indication of what the actual source was, but definitely usually cholera is transmitted via water, but it can also be transmitted through unsafe hygiene practices, especially in the food preparation, as well as just in close contact with people that have the cholera. But most of the pathogens that cause foodborne illnesses are either with us as habitats, or they're within the animal environment, as well as in the general environment around which either something has been grown or in which it is actually being produced. So that's why we've got to look at all these facets when we talk about ensuring food safety, because the pathogens that make us sick or the germs that make us sick come from either us as the food handlers or us as the consumers, or the environment in which we prepare that food, as well as the type of product that we are dealing with. The critical thing is usually if you have something that is raw and needs to be eaten cooked, is ensuring that you cook it thoroughly. And this is often something that is most important, as well as ensuring that you keep food at correct temperatures as well.
Penny Campbell, thank you very much indeed. We do appreciate your time, the Director of Food Control at the Department of Health. Thank you very much indeed.